Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. Sorry, there's been a little bit of delay. Been really busy with just the state opening up from the coronavirus thing. So trying to get like work stuff situated. Also shopping for another car. This would be kind of like more of a project car for some fun stuff to do. Although even I know we're more than halfway through the summer. But anyways, what I want to talk about today are annoying things that Corvette owners do. And I feel like I'm allowed to say this because I am a Corvette owner. I've been one and I've been in the community for a while. Sort of like how I'm Asian, so I can maybe say some things that are slightly more offensive to Asian people, but it's okay because I am one. So I'm kind of going in the same vein here. But again, it's all in fun. I love being a Corvette owner. I love my car. I plan, on keeping it. Unless something drastic happens, or I go through some other plans and end up getting a Gallardo or something like that. But yeah. Anyways, so. The first thing that annoys me about Corvette owners is they all think that their cars are special. Now, what I mean by that, and I want to clarify, is that I'm not talking about just really enjoying their cars, because we all really enjoy our cars. That's why we bought them. We're car enthusiasts. But I think everyone knows when people talk about like their cars, like, oh, it's one of 600 with this color, with this interior color, with a convertible, with these wheels and this trim package. It's like, no one really cares. I don't know when it really started, because I don't get this a ton, or I don't see it a ton at least from the older models, but it seems like around maybe like the C5, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's when, I don't know if like it sort of really crank out the numbers. I mean, the Corvette's always been a very affordable car for most people, but it seems like around then, that's when things just sort of exploding as far as, a lot of like the performance stuff for the Corvette world, and then a lot of people thinking their cars are maybe a little bit more special than they are. And it's fine to like your car, but just, also too, with some of these things that's like one of like, 15, there's a reason they only made 15. It's because it's not a very desirable color or package. So keep that in mind. That brings me to number 2, which is a lot of Corvette owners are very unreasonable with price for selling their car. Because then, everyone's like, I know what I have, or, this is, one of this color, etc., yada, yada, yada. And then they want some, like, obscene amount of money. And they're not willing to negotiate. Ed Bouillon from VinWiki, he had an interesting video. I don't know if it was, like, maybe earlier this year or last year, but he was talking about the Corvette resale market and how just, like, razor thin margins are and how unreasonable like Corvette sellers are, and again also how unreasonable Corvette buyers are. So maybe we just all suck. I don't know, but either way, when it comes to selling a Corvette, the sellers generally want some pretty astronomical price. If you don't believe me, just go on any like the Corvette sale like Facebook groups, or just like on eBay or Car Gurus, and the prices people want are always a little on the higher end of being unreasonable. Number 3 is Corvette owners seem to like to race their cars out. You can say this about Mustang folks too, but I guess coming from the import side, when I was 16, I had a 92 Honda Accord, and I did some pretty terrible things. I actually put a GTR badge on my Honda Accord just because I thought it looked cool. Luckily, I had a friend at the time who was a little bit older than me who showed me the ropes. Anyways though, so I'm not saying that only Corvette owners race their car up. I think they seem to give a lot of hate out there when there's a huge majority of them that do some pretty terrible things. The one that really annoys me to like no end is those like chrome overlays for anything, but in particular, Corvette owners seem to love to do those sort of like chrome plastic overlays on the taillights. That drives me nuts. That, and then these just like outlandish interiors, like these like bright yellow seats and like just huge Corvette like logos everywhere. It's very unbecoming. Keep it more subtle, guys. Let's tone it down a bit, all right? Number 4, and this one, I guess, is a little bit more subjective, and if, on the car community, like YouTube or just in, the forums, it's going to be a little bit different, but a lot of Corvette owners don't really push their cars. And what I mean by that is not that you have to be, like, at the track every single week. I've never even been to the track with my Corvette at this point. A lot of that's due to the Rona, but that's neither here nor there. But what I'm talking about is I still like to go and I'll push my car. You know, I've taken my car up to some pretty high speeds, and you know, like there's a stretch where I know by my house that it's like about 4 or 5 lanes wide. It's straight, flat barriers on each side. I can see really far away. I just like to have fun out there, and that's, you know, kind of how I, you know, get my jollies off. But there's so many Corvette owners that don't do anything with their car. They'll just, you know, cruise around on a Sunday. I've never seen more car cruises than in the Corvette community. And it's great because, I mean, I've been on a couple of them and they're always fun. People are always super, super nice, but that's like the extent of what people do with their cars. If that's, you know, what you're into, that's totally fine. It's your car. You can do what you want. But I'm just saying one of the annoying things about it, the Corvette owners, is that a lot of them, you know, talk about having these, you know, kind of like high performance cars, which they are fairly for, you know, bang for the buck, but they don't ever do anything with them. So then the fifth thing that we came up with is, and I am actually guilty of this one myself, but I have an excuse. I have a great excuse for it. Is every Corvette owner, when they're coming into a driveway or a building parking lot, like an office complex parking lot, they slow down to almost a complete stop and just try to like angle it in super, super slowly. Like it's, you know, some sort of crazy, crazy lowered car. And it's, you know, you could easily take that going at like almost a normal speed. So I would say that yes, and this is the one that I'm actually guilty of these ones, and I think that's why my friend added it, because he knows that I do this. But I think it's because I've got a sensor in my front bumper that beeps at me if I'm getting too close to something, and it'll beep even if I'm like, you know, pulling into my garage, like on the stoop where I step into the house. So I'm just got kind of like scared of that, I guess is really all I can say. So I tried to like angle my car slowly so it doesn't beep at me. Not a very strong excuse, I realize that, but that is my excuse for why I sort of approach every single, you know, slight incline like I'm going up a cliff. So there we are, guys. That's all I got for you. It was just fun kind of hanging out with some friends. We sort of came up with this. This was one of those ideas that came up at like 1 in the morning after you've had a few beers, and someone starts ripping on me for my I think it was actually that one is going so slowly in there. But you know, it came out like, oh, let's put together a list of like all the things that Corvette owners do that are annoying. So hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we can have some more stuff for you coming up soon. But I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.